Good day everyone, my name is Stephen Redman and welcome to Pastor's Library. This is the channel where we discuss everything to do with Christian theology books that might have sparked your interest by seeing them in someone else's home or in your pastor's office, or perhaps books that are on a reading list for a seminary course, for a bachelor's or master's degree in biblical theology or biblical studies. Whatever it is today, we hope to pique your interest with a little bit more about books that are out there. And I am wanting to talk to you today about a book that I've really been waiting for because I have high hopes for it. It's finally arrived, and if you like what I have to say today, please remember to give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Remember also to subscribe and click on the bell if you haven't done already, because that helps the algorithm and it helps us get the message out there. So today we're going to talk about the NIV application commentary. Yes, it's finally in my hands. And this is a real massive piece of work that has to do with years of studying the NIVAC commentary series, and I just reached for the nearest one on the shelf. And this has basically taken 90 million words and condensed them into a little over of 1 million. Now think about that. This was a great work of editing, and you've got to have a very clear overarching picture in your mind of what you want the end result to be. And I have to say to you, I think the editors have done a great job here. So the general editors are Nancy Erickson and Christopher Beetham, and they have got 5 consulting editors working with them, Karen Jobes, Tremper Longman III, Scott McKnight, Douglas Moo and John Walton, all of which are people of very considerable reputation. There are 2 million copies of the commentaries in circulation, and I think the hope is that this will radically increase the number of people who have access to it. So this has been published in 2024. It hasn't quite come out in England, so I've had to grab one from America. 1,458 pages, which makes it actually a fairly substantial work for a 1-volume commentary. And just to repeat myself, 1-volume commentaries are really aimed as the next stage up from a study Bible. So you start with a Bible and you get a study Bible which has got some commentary type notes at the bottom of the pages, and then you work onto a single volume commentary to give you greater access to overviews of the individual books of the Bible, but all in 1 volume. And then there's a progression from that to single volume commentaries and books about chapters and stuff like that. So this is one of a series of books which I'm hoping to do a video coming up about all the 1-volume commentaries I have. But this, I do believe, I am incredibly hopeful about this because it really is a massive piece of work that's been undertaken. And I do think, wherever I've looked, that it offers something that's absolutely excellent. So, first of all, throughout the book, it has an introduction for each of the Bible books. It's got a book outline, it's got an original meaning section, and then an application section. Because what one has to remember is that the New International Version application commentary is all about application. It's a very good commentary series in general, but every section has an application. And this has kept the application intact, although it has been edited. So, for example, the editors say they found that having applications that mention floppy disks was probably out of date, and dial-up internet as well. There are some of us who are watching this today who can remember both of those technological leaps, but they are no longer relevant. And so there has been that level of update taken place. Now, in terms of the words, I said to you the 90 million have become one. There has been a greater leaning towards content in the New Testament. So maybe when you're reading this, you will find that there are more words per New Testament book than there are Old Testament books. But of course, that also depends on the book. So for Isaiah, obviously, has got more meaning expressed than in Esther. But in all of these, you will find something to dig into. Now, as a pastor, I have to preach at least once a week, sometimes 3 times a week. And sometimes if I'm going away to conference, I'm speaking more than that. I have always got what I wanted to preach from prayer. I have always sat down with my Bible open and prayed and said, God, what do you want me to say? And I don't want to get a bit preachy here, but I actually believe that that is the way to preach. It is to have a conversation with God and see what God says. I then allow my reading to influence my preaching. So I do consult. So for example, I am currently preaching through 1 Corinthians and I am consulting with a number of commentaries as I go through. Now, in all of this, I think that that's a healthy way to develop. But if you are, like I was when I started, working full-time in a high-pressure job and then having to go away and preach 3 times a week, which was literally the best training I could ever have had, I think. I think that really helped me and shaped me into who I am. But what I would probably have given for this, going back 40 years, would have been quite impressive. And I didn't have anything like this. But to have an idea or a couple of ideas that you can preach from each chapter of the Bible, now that's really something. And I would never want to replace that with prayer. But if prayerfully I engaged with this, it might really have helped me. And so I suppose what I'm saying is this is really good for busy pastors, busy young pastors. It's very good for home group leaders. Absolutely excellent if you want to be able to deliver a bit more than you can get from the notes on the bottom of your study Bible. What is there to say about this? Well, when I looked at Job chapter 1 verse 21, which is what I did my dissertation on, and so I always tend to look what people have to say about that, it doesn't ignore it. It doesn't specifically clearly say it's talking about that, but I think it is. And it says Job is reacting in keeping with the people of his day. I think that's quite fair, and I would suggest to you that is a summary of what the best commentaries say. And I'm talking about the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away, to use old language. That's a worthwhile point. And of course, when you go through Job in this, you'll actually find that it's actually a very helpful introduction to the book of Job. And I can't criticise it, really. I think it's very, very good. Looking at Romans chapter 1 in the section about wrath, I think that this is a very fair, maybe you might say conservative view, but I would suggest to you it's a very good biblical understanding. And even the application is excellent. Going into 1 Corinthians 12, 13 and 14, what I always call the love sandwich, this has very helpful views. And I would suggest it's a good understanding if you come from a charismatic or Pentecostal tradition, or shall I say, if you're not coming from a cessationist view. And this overall, I would suggest to you, is a commentary that will widely appeal to majority Orthodox believing, Bible believing Christians. This is not a commentary that is going to be widely critical. This is a commentary that will definitely help you and take you one step further on. Now, this doesn't have particularly any specific journal type articles attached to it. It is literally the commentary, but at 1458 pages and over 1 million words, I think it offers the right level of detail for a one-volume commentary. And all I can say to you is, I think it's been worth the wait. This is definitely a good book to buy for somebody who is just at that next stage in their discipleship level, and that you want to tease them with something a little bit more meaty without giving them something that's so theologically strong it might be like hitting a brick wall at 60. This is a very, very good book. And whereas, like I said, I'm probably going to do a video about my collection of one-volume commentaries coming soon, but this is definitely a product of its age. It's an excellent presentation of a conservative, orthodox, Christian, evangelical gospel, and I honestly respect it, and I think I would probably recommend this to one and to all. Really getting our people to dig into deeper discipleship and into deeper Bible study ought to be a really important point to all of us. And this might just be a leg up for those people who are ready to move beyond reading with maybe just daily Bible notes to something that will help them a little bit more rigorously. So that's my comments on the NIV Application Commentary one-volume edition, and I'm very pleased with it. I hope you are. I hope you like what I had to say today. If you did, please click on the thumbs up. If you haven't already done, please subscribe and click on the bell, because that helps us popularize the channel. And so if you have anything to say, any comments to make, if you have any questions, please leave them below. I do try to get back to everybody within about 2 weeks, and I'm always very grateful to see your comments. So until next time, God bless you and bye.